Yeah, I didn't see. Yeah.
No, we have.
Good evening, all. Welcome to the September Town Board meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Bill Carlos, 2nd Ward.
Joseph Lepore, 5th Ward.
Ann Schurshin, 6th Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
John Basley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. And for tonight's agenda, we have 3 public hearings on the agenda. The first one's 84 to 92 Creek Road. The second one's Town Code Amendment for definition of daycare centers. And the third is parking prohibited on Longview Road. We have a motion to open the first public hearing for 84 to 92 Creek Road.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Kohler. I'm with Hudson Land Design. We're the engineer for the applicant. To my left is Michael Berta. He is the architect for the applicant. The project is located on a 5.18 acre parcel on the east side of Creek Road, directly across from the Stewart Shop. Currently, it's in the Neighborhood Business Zoning District, and we have a request in to change zone to RM, the multifamily residential, which is consistent with adjacent parcels. The proposal calls for a construction of a 10,600 square foot building with a variety of floors. There's 2-story units in there. There's 3-story units within there. Ultimately, it would provide 31 one-bedroom apartments. We've worked diligently with the planning board to date to come up with this layout. The planning board, acting as seeker lead agency, had granted a negative declaration, and they've also prepared a positive referral back to this board for consideration of the rezone. Some of the other details of the site are a single entrance off of Creek Road, 66 parking spaces, 2 stormwater management practices, water and sewer connections to existing infrastructure along Creek Road, site lighting, and landscaping. I'm going to turn it on over to the project architect to discuss some of the features on the building.
Good evening. Again, I'm Michael Berta, the project architect. What we have for you is mostly a 3-story building, and each unit is a 1-bedroom unit, and the building will be more luxury, upscale housing. The amenities will, inside each unit will be for the single, newly married, no kid facility. The building itself will be, the exterior facade will be wood-sided. We've tried to adjust the outside to break up the facade so it's not one big giant building. And that's the variance of the 2-story and the 3-story section. And we've tried to create all the way around as well. I think that you've seen the renderings from the last time we were here. If you remember them, we have them here if you want me to show them to you, just to refresh your memories.
Anybody want to see them? It hasn't seen
Yeah,
them?
put them up.
No? Neither.
I don't think so.
We'll talk loud.
This one does work now.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, forgive me.
that's right.
Okay, this would be the rear of the building as you're coming up front towards the Stewart station. Here, I'll walk it around. I'll play Vanna for a second. So you can see this would be the front facade. Again. Okay. Sorry, I had grabbed the wrong one. This will be if you're coming down Creek Road towards the Stewart station from the walkway entrance. And you can see how we're varying the colors. We're varying the fenestrations. They all have balconies. Oops. Yeah, we're trying to do a myriad of different colors, different materials. We're doing a lot of relief so that it's, again, not one big flat building. Just to give it a little bit of character on that road. And the colors that we're going to be choosing, as you can see, are going to be more natural colors, trying to fit more into the landscape, so it's not a bright color that just stands out. It's also why we didn't go with white, this size building. We were afraid that a white building would really stand out like a sore thumb. And also a monotone building would also stand out. So we've tried, with the help of the planning board, we've really tried to make this building look like something that everybody would be proud of.
Anything else?
Nope.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this public hearing?
Okay, I just have one question. Okay, they're all going to be one bedroom, so no thoughts to just having a smattering of 2 bedrooms through there for seniors who are having a hard time downsizing and may need a little extra room and want to have a guest room?
Well, we're limited to, because of density, we're limited to a 31-bedroom count.
Okay,
All right, so, with the owner not here, I don't want to really speak on it, but the best use of it was the 1 bedrooms.
okay.
And if we did any 2s, then we'd have to throw studios in, which would lend itself more to a college kid.
Yeah,
And we're trying to avoid that.
okay,
Now, the first floor units will be all handicapped accessible and type A units. So they'll be handicapped for any seniors that are looking for that type. And they are a little bit larger 1-bedrooms as well. They're not tiny 1-bedrooms. I think each one is about 1,000 square feet.
oh, okay, so they're nice sized 1-bedrooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anybody else in the public? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this public hearing until November 1st, being it wasn't properly posted out in front of the building, and we didn't want to not give everybody a chance to speak if anybody showed up.
We'll have the
Almost.
sign up tomorrow.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Wilson, just a quick question, sir. On the letter from Dutchess County, it talks about a small parcel. It's split zone BN and R20, and it recommends we rezone the whole thing? Is that?
It's from the county.
The one at the desk works.
Okay, this one. Yeah, I believe so.
Needs to be
No, I
turned
didn't
on.
turn it on yet.
They're referring, there's a separate parcel,
You can look at this one, Neil.
Yeah.
I can show you on my screen right here, if you want, if that helps.
yeah. There's actually a separate parcel, I don't know if you could see it, down along the creek.
It's the one in the back that we talked about when this
flood
came.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, it's a junkyard. I mean, you can't get to it. You'd have to, either get through this property. One of the original proposals, the owner was actually going to purchase that. And originally, the idea was that he would have additional land for additional density.
Right.
But I don't know what,
But the
why
question
he
was,
eventually dropped it, my guess is it involves quite a bit of cleanup.
okay, so we wouldn't want to rezone that then? We
I don't
want to
think
leave
there's
it the
any
way it
particular
is?
value to it.
Okay.
I mean, if the owner wants to come forward with a proposal for it, the first thing is, fine, we'll consider it, but you ought to clean it up.
Okay,
And my client does not own that property, by the way.
okay.
Okay, motion also open public hearing number 2, amend 210-9 definitions daycare centers.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody who would like to speak on public hearing number 2? Doreen?
Pardon me, Mr. Supervisor, before you start with that, just for my notes, can you tell me when the date certain that the public hearing for number 1 was adjourned to?
November 1st.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adjourn to tonight, because I made the motion, October 18th.
No, we adjourn the public hearing until November
So
1st.
November 1st, they have to come back.
Talking about
first.
number 1, or which
The
one are you
first
talking
one.
about?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you talking about for
We're
this
talking
one?
about that
Oh,
project.
For that one.
I thought you were talking about the one with.
No,
No.
Okay. That's my mistake, okay.
Doreen.
Okay,
All right, James.
so regarding the definitions for daycare, so I did ask the supervisor because it looked like they were the same definitions that were before you 2 weeks ago, and he said they had not changed. So I would just like to make the same comments. Now, I'm not against the adult daycare. I'm not against that definition. It's just that if you are adopting this tonight, that you should be aware that, as I said last time, there seems to be some deviations from the New York State Code. And if you don't want to just reference the code, which you could do, and because they have to follow that anyway, as far as I understand it, you should at least make sure that the definitions are the same as in the New York State Code. And if you pass it tonight, fine. Again, it's my opinion that you're passing something that has some flaws in it. And you really shouldn't kid yourself if you think you're going to go back and change it, because I'll give you an example. November 4th, 2015, when you changed the recreation fees from $5,000 for buildings per unit, I had pointed out that there was a section of code, 177.24, Parks and Playgrounds, where that $5,000 was referenced, and it wasn't changed. And Mr. Nelson said that he had met twice about it with Mr. Wilson. There were other sections beyond the one that I had mentioned, and they were going to do all the others and do them once. Well, that was November 4th, 2015, and I just checked the code before I came, and that section was never changed. So my point is, if you're going to put some code changes in, you should make sure that you're doing it correctly the first time, because odds are it will never go back and be corrected. And again, like I had pointed out last time, some things in the state code say compensation or otherwise. In the proposed change you have, it just says compensation. I don't even know why that's in there, but the group family daycare, that's that conflicts with the New York State definition for family daycare within that, because you left out some subsets. So again, just to point out, it does not match New York State code, and you didn't make any changes over the last 2 weeks. If you're not going to change it tonight, it'll probably never happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on public hearing number 2? If not, can we have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second? Second? All those in favor?
If I want to make a motion to amend the resolution, do I read the resolution first and then make the motion to amend it?
You can, yes.
Okay. Resolution 2 of 2017, be it enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, pursuant to public hearing held on October 4th, 2017, and October 18th, 2017 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt an amendment to the Town Code, Chapter 210, specifically 210 Sub 9, entitled Definitions, specifically Daycare Center, and be it further enacted that the amendments are attached hereto and incorporated herein, and that the Town Board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments, and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. And be it further enacted that the Town Board has previously declared its intent to act as lead agency under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and does declare said action to be an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQA. And be it further enacted that the Town Board has reviewed the short-form environmental assessment form, EAF, prepared by the Director of Municipal Development, and hereby determines that, 1, the adoption of herein zoning amendments will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment, and 2, a draft environmental impact statement will not be required for the reasons set forth in the attached determination of no significance, and 3, a negative declaration is hereby issued. And be it further enacted that a written recommendation for the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development was received on October 4th, 2017, stating that the proposed amendment was a matter of local concern with comments. And be it further enacted that the written recommendation dated September 19th, 2017 was received from the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board, in which said board recommended the adoption of the herein amendments. And be it further enacted that the town clerk notify the clerks of the surrounding municipalities of a public hearing pursuant to General Municipal Law 239NN. And be further enacted that the legal notice of a public hearing was posted on September 14, 2017, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on September 19, 2017. And be it further enacted that such local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second?
I would like to offer an amendment.
What would the amendment be, sir?
On the page, being enacted, we're talking about the law, amend the definitions daycare center under A, remove the words for compensation.
Okay.
Second exemption, under C, remove the words in the last sentence, except for those programs operating as a family daycare home which care for 7 or 8 children, remove that. And under E, for compensation or otherwise, remove that. So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have a motion on public hearing?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you and best of luck. Motion to open public hearing number 3, parking prohibited on Longview Road. The motion to open that public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody here to discuss the parking prohibited on Longview Road? Anybody? Okay, a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 3, be enacted that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, persuade to a public hearing held on the 18th day of October 2017 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Overrock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby amend Town Code, Chapter 195, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically 195-48, Schedule 8, parking prohibited at all times as follows. 195-48, Schedule 8, parking prohibited at all times.
Schedule 13.
13. Schedule 13. Repeal name of the street, Longview Road, side, west. Location, from Dutchess Turnpike, Route 44, northbound approximately 45 feet to the south edge of the driveway at 5 Longview Road. Add, name of the street, Longview Road, side, west. Location, from Dutchess Turnpike, Route 44, northbound 45 feet. And be further enact that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on October 6, 2017, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on October 10, 2017, and be further enact that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, does determine that this action is type 2 action, requiring no environmental review, and be further enact that said local law shall become effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. That brings us to the end of our public hearings. For tonight, we have a rather short agenda. Number 4 is to set a date for a public hearing on the budget. Number 5 is approve the police department ammunition trade-in. Number 6, authorize a Central Hudson street light. 7 is Justice Court assistance of application for a grant. Number 8, special consents. 1 is advertisement bid for the repair to supports at the wastewater treatment plant. And SC2, amend Town Code Chapter 195, traffic fines. Make a motion to suspend rules for any item on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody like to speak on any agenda item? Doreen?
Since this was special consent item that was added, there was no information out there. So SC2 regarding traffic fines, does this have to do with when
Yes.
the guy came in to do the
Yeah.
program for tracking fines?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just lowering some of the fines and putting them all in line.
Okay, and then the Central Hudson Streetlight Authority order, again, was that specifically for the LED lights?
No, that was for just a street light on Fulton Avenue, I think it is.
Okay. And is there any update on, wasn't there
We've had 3 or 4 companies in on the streetlights, and we've been going over it with them all to decide the best choices. And there's be a couple more months till we come up with it. There's been some changes in the LED. They were like, I think it was like 30 watts, and some of them are now coming out at 25 watts. So we want to make sure we don't go and jump the gun and put in all 30s and find out that they've now changed all 25s.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm not sure, Doreen, if it's 100% 30 or 25, but some of the wattage has changed on some of them. It's gotten better technology. You're welcome. Anybody else like to speak on any agenda item? If not, motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay. Be resolved pursuant to and in accordance with the provisions of Section 106 of the Town Law and other applicable provisions of law, the tentative statement of estimated expenditures and revenues heretofore submitted by the supervisor as is adopted as the preliminary budget of the Town of Poughkeepsie for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, and such preliminary budget is on file at the Town Clerk's Office of the Town of Poughkeepsie for public inspection. And be further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the first day of November 2017 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as the time, date, and place of a public hearing on the preliminary budget for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2018, at which time all interested parties will have the opportunity to be heard, which preliminary budget was approved by the board and filed with the town clerk, and be further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to advertise said public hearing in the Poughkeepsie Journal no less than 5 days prior to the public hearing, to post same on the town clerk's bulletin board, and be further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Just notify Mike's phone has arrived. Whereas the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board approved the purchase of 99 Smith & Wesson modeled M&P 9, 17 Smith & Wesson model M&P 9C, 108 total, 9mm semi-automatic handguns with illuminated night sights and support material by resolution 1019, number 4 of 26. And whereas new handguns use a different caliber of ammunition than the guns which were replaced, making the police department's inventory of handgun ammunition incompatible with the new handguns. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize a trade-in of said incompatible ammunition to Eagle Point Gun for an equal amount of ammunition of the correct caliber for new guns, as set forth in the annexed memorandum of Chief Ron Spiro, Jr. Demonstrating a trade-in would leave the town with a net positive credit of $10. Be it further resolved that this equipment purchase is a Type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. That'd be you.
Resolution 6, be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute a Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation Street Lighting Authority order for the removal/installation of LED streetlights on poles 14429 and Y152286 on Fulton Street, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any questions on this one? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby authorized the supervisor to execute the Justice Court Assistance Program grant application for the amount of $9,346.29. Be it further resolved, this application will benefit the Town of Poughkeepsie Court facilities for the purchase of office equipment and furniture. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any questions on this? Just want to thank Judge Sullivan for putting this together for us. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Resolution number 88, be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit: 1. Authorize engineering department bid advertisement AWWTP repair supports for pipes. 2. Set date for public hearing, legal, amend Town Code 195 traffic fines, and be further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, any item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the clerk to advertise for bids for Arlington wastewater treatment plant tunnel repairs to supports for pipes, contract number 2017-06, pursuant to plans and specifications which will be available on October 23rd, 2017, and the office of the town clerk, that an optional site visit for bidders will be on October 30th, 2017 at 1 p.m. at the Administration Building, 78 Sand Dock Road, Town of Poughkeepsie, New York, and that the bid opening will be held on November 6, 2017 at 11 a.m., by which time all bids will be received. And be further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby reserve the right to accept or reject all bids in whole or part. And be further resolved that the Town Board does hereby determine that this repair contract is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any question on this one? This is just the one that we bid out earlier this year, and we only got one bid on it. We thought it was the height of the season, so we thought it was better to try and bid out later on in the year. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Before you go to number 2, my suggestion is that in the 5th line, where it says section 95,
195?
it should say 195-35. Thank you.
Okay. Be it resolved, Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby set the first day of November 2017 as and for the date of a public hearing will be held at 7 p.m. Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, to consider the adoption of a local law amending Town of Poughkeepsie Code, Section 195-35, regarding the fines for certain traffic infractions and the adoption of Town Code, Section 195-35A, a schedule of late penalties to be imposed upon the failure of a person or owner of a motor vehicle to appear, answer summons or appearance tickets, or timely pay a fine for a traffic infraction listed in Code Section 195-35B and C, which local law amendments are at Exhibits A and B hereto and are incorporated herein, reference as fully set forth, and be it further resolved, the adoption of this local law is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall become effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We've come to the end of our town board meeting.
That would be 5-0, just. for-
Oh, 5-0, sorry.
Okay.
Come to the end of our town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item
Second.
to the town at all.
So moved.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If anybody would like to speak, we ask that they please keep it to 3 minutes. Come on up, ma'am.
Aye. Professor Clementi?
I wasn't expecting this format. I thought I'd be speaking to the whole group. Anyway, I'm here not with any political motives. When I came to Poughkeepsie 15 years ago, I was on a couple of local boards, not-for-profit boards, and I decided to get off, and I had rescued a dog and took her to therapy training because I wanted to do one-on-one service. I wanted to do direct service, and that's why I'm here. I was an educator with the Board of Ed in New York City. I got my doctorate near the end of my career. I didn't need it. It didn't make a difference in my position. I got it because I always wanted it, and it was the right thing to do, and it made me feel good, and it was a heck of a lot of work. I'm here about the Constitutional Convention, and I'm here for all of us, no matter what our positions are, and I'm here as a regular person, not for political motives. There are neighbors of mine whose politics are the direct antithesis of mine, and when I discussed the issues, they completely agreed with me because they had friends in positions that might be affected. With this convention, it could cost over $300 million with large payments to delegates and assistants. New York State, workers, police officers, firefighters, teachers, laborers, and government workers could, in the long run, lose their pensions. Elected officials could be working towards the Constitutional Convention, and they could encourage family members to run as delegates, and the annual salary, because a delegate on the Constitutional Convention Board could have their regular salary, regular position, and make up to $80,000 a year in addition, not to mention the cost of materials, space, and everything you would need to know to take the Constitution, which was last redone in 1967, and is kind of a thick document, and redo it. So, to get to the bottom line, special interest groups are the guys that are in favor of this. They could affect the wage rates for construction workers, public pensions, collective bargaining, workers' compensation, free public education, which scares me to death. I said it, if that was the case now, my two kids, one's a teacher, the other's an MD, they'd still be in kindergarten if I had to pay without child support for their education. And the public, there would be a prohibition on public money to assist religious schools. So I'm asking that even though you're a small group, one-on-one, you can make a difference by telling people to go to the back of the ballot on November 7th and vote no for Proposition 1 to ban having a constitutional convention, because if people want amendments, they can deal with the legislators and see what they can do to have laws passed. And lastly, this constitutional convention could make New York a paradise for billionaires, and we don't need it. Thank you. And this is what I've done, because I'm one person. I made a list of everyone in New York City that I used to work for and all the people I know up here. And closer to election time, because this is kind of an off year, and people don't get out and vote, I'm going to call every one of these people and email them and say, this is really important. You've got to vote in general, because I've voted in every election since I was 21 and I'm 75 and a half. And vote no for the Constitutional Convention. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Doreen?
So on August 23rd, before the board was a presentation about the Raymond Avenue School redevelopment, and I had asked if there was a pilot program that they were asking for, and I didn't really feel like I got a good answer that night, so I had emailed the supervisor who answered me. As of September 1st, they had not yet asked. And I see that they're on the planning board agenda for tomorrow night. And I was wondering if there's any new developments. First of all, I'm against a pilot. Again, people don't know, it's a payment in lieu of taxes. Developers come in and they basically get a reduction in their taxes, which means that the rest of us have to pick that up, yet they're making the profit. So do you know of any updates to the pilot yet?
Nothing's changed during the, discussed, as usual, developer, we haven't got all our numbers down to what it's going to cost. It's a tough project, but nobody's officially come in and said anything about a pilot yet. They have applied and come in and talked to us about different grants that they could apply to, but actually come in and talk to us about a pilot, not at this time. Not yet.
Okay. And also, on that same note, you may remember that on August 23rd, when they were in here, you had voted on a resolution for the, that you were going to be the lead agency, and I had questioned about the number of apartments. And so after you voted, you went back and you changed the resolution because it was unclear and as to the exact number of apartments. So you went back and you voted again to change it to say that the dwelling units were going to total 172 apartments. And that motion passed. So I was looking at the materials for tomorrow night's planning board meeting, and I would like to know why, if your resolution said 172, that in various parts of their submission for tomorrow night, and again, it was 172, and I think it was 44, which would have brought it over to over 200. And I had pointed out that that could have been something that their attorney could potentially exploit. For those of you who don't remember, their attorney is Mr. Cantor, of the Dutton Project, and many others. Well, anyway, I see in their submission for tomorrow night that they are referencing, in some cases, 200 apartments, and in other cases, 180 to 200 apartments. So if you approved that night a total of 172 apartments, why did they submit as of October, it was either September or actually October 13th, 2017 was some materials. So why are they talking about 200 apartments or 180 to 200 apartments if your resolution said 172? Why did the planning department allow that to be on the agenda for tomorrow night? Why, would somebody ask Mr. Wilson how that happened?
I'm going to ask him first thing in the morning, because 172 was our number, and they came back in and we discussed it. I will ask him in the morning.
So here we have something from Morris Associates. It says Raymond Avenue School redevelopment regarding the creation and designation of a new anchor project district and a two-phase mixed-use development including 200 apartments. Then we have another section that says the project involves phase 1 construction resulting in the following shown on the plans, blah, blah, blah. And it says 180 to 200 apartments. Then down another section, it says 180 to 200 apartments. And then another section talks about the total of 200 apartments would result in 373 new residents. So, and there were many others. I think there were several others besides that. So I would like to know how this happens. And why did the planning department not catch that?
I don't know, but we'll find out in the morning, Doreen, if you want to give me a call.
Well, one of the things that's going on here is when they talk to the state, they're having the entrance to the development line up with Davis Avenue. So by shifting it down, there's no longer a hotel on the table. The area is too small to put the hotel in, so the hotel has now been removed from the plan. And what they did is there were two buildings on Raymond Avenue with the walkway between that you can see the school. So they made one of those larger. So there's a square now, and then there's a rectangle, and there are additional apartments because that building was made larger.
Yeah, but I don't care. The resolution that you passed, unless you're going to pass another resolution that says 200, I mean, that's it. So now the town board passes a resolution, you set a number, and then somebody arbitrarily decides they need to come back before the town board, and you need to do another resolution. That is just...
The plan is to change, Doreen. They have to come back. It says 172. It's 172. If they plan and lost the hotel, they have to come back for a change, if that's what it is. They can't arbitrarily change their numbers.
Okay, and this is before the planning board tomorrow night, and you know what has happened at times. Town board says one thing, the planning board says another thing. Obviously, somebody here on the town board knew what was going on. And again, that is not what you voted on.
No, it's absolutely not. When we voted, if they were to change the plan, they have to come back to us, which they have to come back to us anyway, but they can't come out with numbers that don't meet what they were told to do.
Well,
The documents you read from, Doreen, where are they from?
on the town website.
On the planning board page? Or
No,
the planning
okay.
board?
You go to the town website and you post info packets for like the town board meeting,
Right,
planning
I
board meeting.
understand.
If you go to the one for the planning board meeting and then select for
Okay,
this
so they came
project,
from
you
there.
will see that's where they are. So they were posted on the town's website. So I don't understand why it's on the agenda for tomorrow night. If it says 180 to 200, they shouldn't be approving anything. And again, there just seems to be a lot of either you can call it sloppy work or you can call it inconsistencies. And again, it shouldn't be happening, in my opinion.
No, they were told, even the other numbers don't match that number. So they were told what the numbers should be, and we'll call in the morning and see why they're not what they were.
And I mean, I specifically that night made the point about it being unclear that they could potentially ask for more and try to, in my opinion, sneak it in, that their lawyer could potentially try to do that. And so you went back and you changed it to be very, very specific. So,
Well, I do believe they were here that night, Doreen, and they also confirmed that
Yes.
72 was the number. So we'll check with Neil tomorrow, and we'll find out, but 172 is the number that they have to work with.
I know, but, and you know you've been involved in a number of lawsuits over the years where people try to take advantage of situations. So, you know, I would be very careful. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Is there anybody else that would like to discuss any town business at all? If not, a motion to close. Public comment? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
On board at
If you have the PIG sheets, bring them up.